Okay, let's go.
I'm Nicole Lee, and welcome to another episode of You Never Know, where we talk about life, career, change, and the stories of people who have taken the unconventional road and embraced the unknowns. I'm really excited about today's guest who took a leap of faith from his conventional corporate career to now becoming a full-time Vedic astrologer, an art and a craft that is both ancient and fascinating. Today we will talk about what inspired his journey, the differences between Vedic astrology and Western astrology, and some of the most interesting lessons he's learned along his journey. Nivas, welcome to You Never Know.
Thank you, Nicole.
I'm really, really grateful to have had the opportunity to have met you through a friend.
Thank you.
I think it's literally through 6 degrees of separation that really led me to have met you and to also have a reading with you. I think that was about a month ago.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, and probably many people are also really curious about what actually does a Vedic astrologer do?
Thank you for inviting me here, Nicole. It's very nice and exciting to be here. Vedic astrology, like how I do see, and especially if we also see from the context, what do I do on a daily basis, right? My routine. I do people coming from all walks of life. Sometimes it is a CEO, sometimes it is just a student. People who are at crossroads, mainly, right? You don't go and see an astrologer when your life is all full and happy. You only see an astrologer when you have burning questions. So my main time in a day is mostly interpreting charts. So we call it as birth charts, horoscopes, all this sophisticated, complicated looking tables, numbers and all of that. So we tend to see it in a way to find answers to people, which is based on, say, planets, based on zodiacs, which is very common across astrology, right? You see in Rome, Greek, Egyptian astrology, Chinese astrology, Indian Vedic astrology, Western astrology, it's all the same. So I do see from the Vedic angle. The Vedic basically means it is a predefined text. It's like a poem, right? It's a book of poem, like if your Mercury is in a certain zodiac and it is sitting in the 6th house, then you will be this. So it is all predetermined, like hundreds of texts, which we call it as Vedic texts. That is why the name Vedic astrology means that is already this book which has got all predictions all written. So we just have to see where do we belong. So I do see, horoscopes reading, preparation every day, see clients. I also do Vastu, which is kind of feng shui in Indian text. Go to clients' place, their house, their offices, industries, and see how they can improvise their workspace based on their main door direction, for example, where the windows are located, how is the midpoint of a place, etc. It gives me immense joy to use this science to give hope in people, to see how I can look into the positives and motivate them to be successful in life. When I go back home, most of the times, I always go home with full of heart. The conversations will be very different. From one session to another session will be very different. But my objective is always the same, unbiased, which is to see hope in their face. Although sometimes it might be very extreme, right? In certain cases, the longevity would be too short, or what they have to about to see in their life will be something that they would not have prepared for. So those kind of things I have to approach in a more psychological fashion, and to some extent, I won't tell them upfront something like a very negative kind of a prediction, but I will give them close to 70-80% of what they need to know and how they should be carrying on their journey. My emphasis is most of the times, especially if it is of a negative event that is due, I will give importance to the journey than the destination itself. And if it is positive, obviously I will talk more about the journey and as well as give them how's the destination going to be.
This is really fascinating to me. So many things I want to ask you. And also because all this is new for me too. And I think it's new for many people. If you ask me just a year ago or 2 years ago, if you're sitting in front of me and telling me all this, I'll say this is just crazy. I don't believe in any of it because many of us were brought up to believe in many other beliefs and ideas that sometimes astrology is just out of this world and it's not something that is real. So when you talk about all of these things and it's resonating with me right now, it's also reminding me of the journey that I've been on and the journeys of many other people before they came to see you as well. So based on what I hear, it's both a science and an art. So if we take a step back, before someone walks into your office, what do they actually have to provide you before you actually know about their birth chart?
Pretty straightforward and simple.
Okay.
We ask for the birth date, birth time, not to the seconds, but to the minute, because
Okay.
Vedic charts can generate horoscope very precise based on how the planets were positioned at the time of birth to the minute. Then the place to calculate the latitude and longitude. And why we ask this three information is to calculate to see exactly how the solar system was positioned at the time of birth. We want to go to that minute and see the space and see how the planets are positioned. On top of that, we also ask name to see from the numerology perspective. Does this person have a name that numerologically got a number that resonates with their birth and life number? So when people call them with a name,
Yeah.
with their name,
Yeah.
will it be something that is creating good vibrations around them? Do people like to call them with that name? Does it make them successful?
Okay.
So we ask for names too, and to see and tell certain people that they should probably be emphasizing their friends, family to call by the two names. If they have three names, right, 3 words, middle name, first and last, we would tell them you may want to use this name and that name together and not just one name.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. For example, Jackie Chan,
Yeah.
Bruce, you know the next name, right? Bruce
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Michael Jackson. It is all two names, especially coming from Gemini zodiac.
Right.
So we ask for name, place of birth, date of birth, time of birth.
Right. And that one I didn't ask you yet. If if people should call me Nicole or Nicole Lee. So that's very fascinating. And we can talk about that later. The interdependency or the interrelation between your birth time, your birth date, the planets, the positions, as well as numerology as well. It's all kind of interlinked, right?
Yeah.
I think we were talking about it the other day that different planets have different numbers as well, right?
Yeah.
Maybe before we get there, not many people have heard of Vedic astrology. And I remembered, seeing you. And one thing that surprised me was that I'm Sagittarius. My sun is in Sagittarius. But not everybody has the same sun sign when they look at Western astrology versus Vedic astrology. And I remembered that my moon was also different between Vedic and Western astrology as well. Can you explain to us a bit what are the main differences between Western astrology, which is what most of us know, and Vedic astrology?
Generally, I see astrology as we trying to see an object in a room from a certain window, assuming that a room has 5 or 6 windows. So I take window 1 to see an object inside.
Okay.
I'll go on to the second window to still see the same object. I'll go to the 6th or 5th window, still see the same object.
Okay.
All these windows are astrology. All these windows are different versions of astrology, but it all should see the same. For example, Western astrology cannot see through a window and say that your profession is going to be, say, business. And Vedic astrology, seeing from its window, cannot say that your line of profession would be you are a salaried professional or you are working for somebody else. So, irrespective of the science and even the art form that we have, ultimately we should be seeing the same thing, right? Because in our life we can only have one event, right? What is happening today is we are having a discussion about astrology. Egyptian astrology cannot do this, cannot see that, no, today Nivas will be flying.
Yeah.
Or Chinese astrologers say that, no, Nivas will be sick today. So, difference between Western and Vedic. Western astrology gives importance more to this planet Sun.
Okay.
And it picks up nuances about characteristics, traits, and generally big picture. What it lacks will be predicting specific events based on timeline. For example, if we go to a Western astrologer and ask, when will I get married? Maybe he would say when you are 33 years of age. Or maybe he would say first half of 2025. Vedic astrology has a unique specific table format, like dates in chronological order, which is calculated from the birth chart of a person, very unique to that person. And from that table, we would be able to see events in a much more precise fashion. So we would be giving them dates like, or between 15th of May 2025 to 6th of June 2025, you're going to sign a bond. So Vedic astrology has this dates, chronological order, plenty of different formats where we can go to the specifics of it. Second major difference would be Western astrology looks into all the planets in the solar system. Like we know Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all of it. And they will see it in the birth chart and they will give prediction. Whereas in Vedic astrology, we don't look into Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. The reason is all the planets, for example, right, it's always in a motion and it comes around Sun and it takes a certain time to come around the zodiac belt. The zodiac belt is starting from Aries all the way till Pisces. So this zodiac belt, for example, Jupiter will take just 12 years to come one round around the Sun's orbit. So we have 12 zodiacs, 12 years, so 1 year per zodiac. Saturn takes 30 years, which makes it 2.5 years per zodiac. Venus, Mercury is all less than a year, 86 days, come around, finished. Moon takes 28 days to come around the zodiac. So basically it is like roughly 2 days per zodiac or 2.5 days. Whereas Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto will take 7 years, 14 years, and 21 years per zodiac.
Long time.
Long time. So if Pluto is in a certain zodiac, for 21 years it is going to be in that zodiac in a person's life. And how much impact it is going to bring so that we can specify events in a person's life will be negligible. So in Vedic astrology, we stop at Saturn. We do see Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, but we don't look into Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Third difference would be Western astrology, while it gives importance to the planet Sun, it won't emphasize more on 2 other planets, which they call it as North Node and South Node. Even it is in the NASA's website. So this North Node and South Node are basically non-physical planets. They don't have a shape. They are not round. They don't exist.
Yeah.
They are mathematical points. So imagine if Sun has an orbit, because we are now in Earth, and if we see Sun, Sun has an orbit. And Moon, which is also around Earth, also has an orbit. right? It goes around the earth like how we see, although we are the one moving, sun is not. But from earth, sun appears to be moving. So if we have an orbit for sun and moon, these two orbits constantly join at 2 points. One in the north, they call it as north node, and one in the south, we call it as south node. Vedic astrologers call this exactly the same calculation mathematically. They call it as Rahu and Ketu. And this Rahu and Ketu in Vedic text, Rahu is the head of a snake and Ketu is the tail of the snake. Basically this is to give an understanding to the beginners and to see Rahu and Ketu as something that is always connected. They are 180 degrees apart. While sun, moon move in a zodiac in its own pace, Rahu and Ketu, that is the north and the south node, will always travel at the same pace. It takes 18 years to come out in the zodiac. Vedic astrology gives tremendous importance to Rahu and Ketu position. So if someone have to ask, what is my purpose of life? We look into Rahu, which is in Western astrology, they should see from North Node. So North Node will tell, is it going to be your professional life or is it the personal life that is going to bring in purpose? It isn't, like vague or generic. No, both forms you're going to be, no. Rahu will strikingly say, what is that I should be doing in this life? What is my calling? Where am I going to go? So Vedic astrology, Rahu and Ketu importance is extreme, very much. Western astrologers, North Node and South Node, most of the time they don't give importance or they don't see it like how they see Sun, Mars, the Uranus, Neptune and Pluto.
Right.
So fundamentally, I believe when I do research on Western astrology, it gives a macro view of something. Vedic astrology gives micro view as well, on top of macro.
You know what's so fascinating and mind-blowing is that most of us, including myself a few years ago, when we read about astrology, whether it's in magazines or you see in the bookshop, they have some labels of what a Cancer sign person is, Sagittarius, Aries, and you sometimes cannot resonate with those labels because it seems very generic. Oh, a Sagittarius person likes freedom, a Cancer person is nurturing, or and what struck me after learning more about astrology, both Western and now Vedic, is how crazily detailed it can be to tell you about your life and what could happen in the future. Because I remember, sitting in front of you, and I think in the first 5 minutes, you told me something about what's happening now. How would you know? How would you know exactly what's happening and when? In terms of my personal life and professional life as well. So when after a person gives you their birth date, time, and location of birth, what can they expect to see in a birth chart? Maybe take us through a bit of the planets and the houses as well.
When it comes to reading a person's horoscope,
Yeah.
for example, mine, I've been researching my horoscope for more than 35 years now. And I think I might need 3 lifetimes, full lifetimes, incarnate 2 more lives to fully understand my horoscope or anyone else's horoscope, because it never ends.
Wow.
You dive, it is like an abyss. You never end knowing what more you have. So all of this, 3 incarnations or 3 lifetime worth of information, we have to bring it down to 45 minutes, right, to
Yes.
my client. So my approach is, I want to look into the full aspect of astrology. For example, let's say a horoscope has 12 zodiacs. The very same 12 zodiacs, we also have called them as 12 houses, because some zodiac is going to be a some house. Say Pisces is first house in some chart, and Aries is 7th house in some chart. So the zodiacs and the houses will always be there, 12. And there are only 9 planets in Vedic astrology, right? Sun, Moon, all the way to Saturn and Rahu, Ketu. So these 9 planets have to occupy this 12 houses or the 12 zodiacs. So we will start to predict reading from the first house if there is a planet. If there are no planets, no predictions. We go to the next house. What planet is in the second house? Then, as we see a planet in a specific zodiac or a house, we read, okay, if this planet is sitting in this house, this zodiac, this is what is going to happen. So we actually read the horoscope for clients based on how the planets are positioned in a certain zodiac as well as in a certain house. So going through these 9 planets, how they are sitting in a horoscope, what do they mean? Say the 12 houses that I said has very different events to represent. The first house will talk about general health, purpose of life, what is the person's personality is about, characteristics, traits, body language, introverted, extroverted, how expressive the person is. All of that is first house.
And that's also where your rising sign
Yes,
is.
the first house is basically the rising sign.
Yeah.
So second house, for example, will talk about income. Well, how is this person going to earn an income? Communication, speech. To some extent, it also shows whether one would be prudent when it comes to communication and conversation. Or to some extent, we also see that is this person a very good sharing of knowledge individual. Third house will talk about siblings, short-term travel, professional relationships. Seventh will talk about marriage, business partnerships. Sixth will have to do with enmity. What kind of enemies we will have? Powerful or just superficial? It talks about law. It talks about all forms of legal things that we have to go through. It talks about diseases that we will have. It talks about whether we are going to be in service or product-based industry. Nothing of that will have a correlation, but the 6th house is representative of all that. So if you ask me any question, I should be able to connect them with any of the 12 houses, right? So if a planet is sitting in any of these 12 houses in a certain zodiac, and we will just pick, say, that verse in the Vedic text. If Mercury is sitting in its own sign Virgo, and if it is going to be its second house, then we will say, oh, this person is going to do very well in stocks, shares. And did we even see it as something that we have to say? No, we just keep it very straightforward, see the birth chart, how the planets and housing systems are, and based on that, we read. So it is done more of a micro way. We are not trying to paint any form of picture about that person. No judgments, nothing. We just read it. Once we go through all the 9 planets sitting in various zodiacs and houses, we will then start to get a picture, a frame. Oh, this person is going to be very successful in business life. Oh, this person is an entrepreneur. Oh, this person is going to be a traveler. Oh, he got luck in travel. So once we see all that put together, we get a rough picture of how we actually are, what kind of events are going to take place, and how is our, say, professional and personal life is going to be. So horoscope reading 45 minutes is just to read the positioning of the planets and give my clients a glimpse of what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen. So it's like to see past, present, and future. Let's say if we make it into a detailed session, which I used to do 5 years ago, 2 hours. 2 hours.
Wow.
And all those clients are my return clients now. Why are you not doing the 2 hours? So 2 hours, I realized I gave too much information.
Wow. Yeah.
Too precise that they seem to come back, which I don't believe in astrology. As a science, as a practitioner, I don't believe in marketing. I don't believe in commercializing this. This have to be subtle. You know, like a saying, when the learner is ready, the teacher will appear. So if we are in a situation, dilemma, indecisive about something, and if we seek from our heart that I need to have an answer, astrology will appear. It isn't something like life is so good. We chit-chat with friend and the friend said, hey, yesterday I had a session with an astrologer, so nice, so accurate. I also want. That I also want won't be nice. They have to feel it. I have a burning question and I need to find out. And this person, this astrologer will appear. So, no marketing, nothing. And this trade also have to be approached in a way that it shouldn't make people anxious about future. When would astrologers thrive? When people are anxious. When people are curious. And when we tell them more precise, specific, and they ask, oh, you can even predict specific dates, like within, say, 3 days, 4 days, 7 days. No. Recently, last week, a client came, oh, my pass is expiring.
As in employment pass?
Employment.
Okay.
Some work pass is expiring. And I'm losing hope. I don't have a job. And I just want to know if I'm going to continue here or move back my home country or elsewhere. So I said, no, you're staying here. Because I see from a certain day, which is 7th of December, 2 days ago, although I met her last week, 7th of December onwards, before 21 of December, the planets positioned shows that you will continue. So that was the, like predictions we give, specific events.
Yes.
She didn't believe it. And she said, no, I haven't gotten any calls. I haven't gotten any response from all those applications I sent, desperately from end November. Saturday night, she texts me, I got a job. So, praise goes to God, praise goes to the science. I'm just a middleman, just seeing, scientifically the charts, the planets, the dates and whatnot, and tell them. This excites them. So my concern is this person is going to come back to me in the future for all forms of questions.
Right.
For example, it could be buying a property or migration, promotion. So I'm so deprived of promotion. So in my journey, when I was giving them a lot of information, I do see a pattern that they get addicted to it.
Right.
No, I want them to just see astrology whenever it is making them feel lost. Because astrology in Indian context, the term is Jyotish. We don't call astrology. Jyotish. What is Jyotish? Jyoti. Jyoti means light.
Right.
It is like showing light to someone when they are in their dark time in their life. So Jyotish, light, is fantastic only when we look up to an answer wholeheartedly. It isn't about, if I know it's good. Or if I can know more, be prepared, why not? No. So astrology, especially Vedic astrology, several thousands of years old, was only practiced in the kingdoms, as in, in the king's palace. An astrologer won't be found in any streets. The number of trades, businesses we did several thousands of years ago were very limited. Blacksmith, farmers, carpentry, something like that. Astrologers don't exist. They exist in the ministry. The king will ask an astrologer. Astrology is used to plan activities or things. Oh, for you, king, it will be this day during this full moon. You may want to initiate, or you have to be careful that you have to defend your kingdom. So astrology is more used to the kings and queens, especially the royal, only when there is a pressing concern. Over time, these texts slowly gotten into the public. People start to learn. People start to read. Oh, this is interesting and fascinating. And of course, it is then brought down to the general public, because it can see various many events in life. The book itself is kind of a support. And now, to this day, this age, it is, unfortunately, very commercialized.
Right.
We get emails. You want to know about 2025? Do you want to know what's in it for you? Transit is happening. How is it going to impact you? So it creates some kind of curiosity in people that I also want to know, but this person is completely fine in life.
Yeah.
So to some extent, this science also favors greed in oneself. Am I going to be rich? I have clients who will ask, can you objectify how rich I will be? Can you give me a number? Just asking.
And you
I said, no, there's no number, sir. I'm sorry, there is no number.
Yeah.
All I can say is that this person will make up wealthy and will be financially stable at one point in time. That much I can say. So in general context, this science, called as a pseudoscience now,
Yes.
right? People don't believe, really. Not all of them believe in astrology. That's again a saying. Millionaires don't believe in astrology. Billionaires do.
Wow.
Yeah. Astrology is also hugely about one's intuition. It isn't about a book that we flip to page number 58 and we see the third verse that you are this. It depends on the astrologer's insights, especially the intuition. Should I say this or not?
Right.
Should I be, how the astrologer sees, it's kind of a calling.
Yes.
I might see something and say it,
Yes.
whereas the next time I somehow intuitively choose not to say it. Maybe that person is destined not to hear it from me,
Yes.
or that person is destined not to hear it from anyone. My guru, during my young days, my only guru used to say, astrology, 70% is intuition,
Wow.
30% is calculation. You're good in numbers, you're great in interpreting things, you're like a research material,
Yes.
you're very good in theory, 30%. 70%, once you put all this information in your head, what you want to say.
No, let's talk about that, because I think that intuition is not just important for astrology, but also in many other roles and
Absolutely.
careers. And the fact that you call it a calling really symbolizes the significance of who you're meant to be and whether you have the gifts to interpret, right, someone's charts in a way that is unbiased,
Yeah.
and also that is in the benefit of the other person as well. So one thing that struck me was how you started your journey of astrology, because it isn't a job that's on,
Yeah.
jobs portal.
Yeah.
It's not something that people think about. So tell us how you started that journey and to where you are today.
I'm a big believer of you never know.
Yes.
Yeah, big
Yes.
time believer.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of a rebel. Was 7 years old. 7 years old. And my family have nothing to do with astrology. Because my father is a Muslim. Islam is very far from us. It's like Pluto. Very far.
Yeah.
And my mom is a Christian. Both of them don't go to astrologers.
Yeah.
So I'm here in this entire family who used to be very curious in an adult conversation. My father and mother will be having a conversation about, some family issues or something.
Okay.
I'll be just a boy playing around,
Yes.
but I'll be like hearing what they say,
Okay.
what they talk. And I don't know. I will just intervene and I will tell them something. It could be a date. I will give, no, you'll be able to pay this by this day, just for fun. I'll be just wanting to be a part of the conversation,
Okay.
and I won't even stand there for a validation. I'll just say and I'll go. And my mom always say that whatever you say will happen. We start to notice that it eventually happens.
Wow.
But somehow we see that the soul in you always wanted to be around whatever the conversation or some kind of a distress situation is, and you will tell something. So I also start to feel that during my young days, during my adolescent years, I start to fear that if I say something without thinking,
Right.
without using my brains, just so randomly, like loose talking,
Yeah.
it will happen.
Wow.
So my sense of consciousness, how
Yes.
careful I am, was always I was always a very conscious individual.
Right.
And when I was 14 years old, I happened to have an astrologer who lived next door, very famous astrologer. And in fact, he was my inspiration. And things started that way. Vedic astrology, I used to, see how wonderful he used to have his daily routine, sitting on a big desk, so
This
much
is
of books.
In India.
In India.
Yeah.
He will draw plenty of tables. That time, no computers. You can't generate anything from a system. Everything have to be manually drawn. So you'll have all sorts of colored pens representing different planets. So I got fascinated with all that. So I started to, get inspired from him. And I did see that I have a natural attraction, fascination for astrology. I realized when I was, 21 and above, like really getting into what I need to do in life, I considered astrology as my hobby, as something that I'm very passionate about, because it gives me all the food to dive deep into something that I can never get enough. I learn myself, research, read all sorts of books, PDFs, whatever you find online. I used to buy, I used to download, and I would read. At one point, it became my obsession that every day I have to look into something. My bachelor's was in hospitality. Right, I never thought that my journey would be astrology, or I would be a fortune teller or something. Or my dad will be very upset with me. So I chose hospitality degree. I finished. I didn't know what to do after, but my mind was also not going towards astrology or making that as my living or earning an income through astrology. I was interested in management studies. I wanted to do MBA and all that. So all of that is happening in India. And at some point in time after I got married, I decided to move back to Singapore. Move back mean my wife used to be here in Singapore, although she's an Indian. She always said, we have to go back to Singapore. So I came in here. I visited as like a tourist pass, found a job, went back, got an EP, so proud. Told my family, I can bring my family. So I brought my wife and my first son that time. Haven't seen my office yet, but I kind of said that, no, like a rebel, said, no, you haven't even know how your office is going to be or where you're going to. No residence, nothing. I said, no, I will just take my family. And impulsively I took, and we were living in a hotel. And I was looking for a place to live. Why I'm saying this is because in 3-4 days' time, when I reported for work, back in India, I'm the university first gold medalist in my bachelor's. Came out first in several schools. I'm kind of good in academics.
Okay.
Proud, and got this job, and I thought, life is going to change. You never know what is enough for you. Standing there, 8 o'clock in the morning, waiting to report for my first official job in Singapore.
In Singapore, yeah.
And I couldn't find the address. And I was standing there, but I couldn't locate the office. I called my boss, and boss said, yeah, it's right behind you. Because I was giving him some, where I'm standing, what is in my left, what is in my... He said, you're standing right there. Just walk into that place, and there'll be a person called so-and-so, and you tell you are Nivas, and you have come to join. And the place I walked in was a prata shop.
A what?
Prata.
Prata
restaurant,
shop,
prata shop.
Prata shop, yeah.
It's just a prata shop. But I thought my job has got to do with something related to, training, hospitality based and all that. Then I realized I was kind of scammed.
Oh, Oh.
And I ended up in a place which is a prata stall restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And I was all dressed in business attire, carrying my laptops and everything, shoes polished, shine. And I'm an odd man out there.
Wow.
They are looking at me. You're coming here to join? They thought that I'm a customer there.
Wow.
I was so taken aback, shocked.
Yeah.
Just, gotten into a house, family, wife and 1.5-year-old kid, and I'm here in a prata shop. They say, this is my workplace, and I've been recruited as a cook there, which I didn't know.
Whoa.
So waited until my boss came and I said, no, yours is like this. Take it or leave it. I don't have any explanation to say. And I couldn't believe that such things can happen in Singapore.
True. Wow.
Same attire. Afternoon, lunch, I was wiping tables.
Wow.
Wiping tables, and I'm thinking, what is this? What am I doing? How am I going to tell anyone back in India? Or am I even going back to my own family and say what I have just faced? The day I went back home, I have two options. Quit, go back, or continue. So obviously, I chose the second one. Continue. Change my attire. Okay, this is it. Let's see where it takes, because you never know.
Wow.
Went to that stall. That time, 20 years ago, of course, I have already committed housing and everything. And the salary they mentioned was $1,000, which is less than my rent, which I already have signed. Because I based on my, the package, EP, you're being an EP holder, your basic salary would be this. That time it was 2005.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, good. But I didn't know, I've gotten into this equation. But my nature is, I won't give up easily.
Yeah.
And I would like to go and see where it takes me to. I tried. I was the only one who speaks English there. So within a month's time, I was out from kitchen and I'm managing the restaurant, become a supervisor. And people who came thought that I'm the boss and had, like decent and relatively good time. Within few months' time, I applied for PR without, knowing without my employer, my boss, because they will be very against all that. I got PR for the whole family.
Wow.
Luckily, I thought, okay, this is great, man.
Yes.
And it was the year of depression, 2008. I got it in 40 days after applying. And went back to my boss. He was obviously unhappy. You're going to go? Because I also helped in building the business there. I love to, do things with restaurants, food and everything. All the bars. I mean, this restaurant is placed in Boat Quay. And business thrived. We used to. That time, no Grab, no Uber, nothing. But we had a menu given to all the pubs and the bars there. And we will receive calls for all sorts of snacks from this Indian restaurant. Became very famous. So boss was very happy. Hey, this guy is good. Because boss and me came from the same city in India. Okay. That's the only connection we had. And that's the only connection. He also wanted to recruit me. He later said that, I hope that you would stay. Knowing that you're going to work in this place, environment, we still hope that you would stay. Thanks. But now that I got a PR, he thought I'm going to leave.
Okay.
Who would want to work in a place like this? Then I said, no, I will continue to work for you for one more year. Because although I felt a little cheated, but you gave me an opening. I want to be grateful and I would like to be here for one more year, equip this place, train people, and then I would leave. But I also had my own expectations. That is, I wanted to do competitive exams that time. So I want to get into GMAT, get into a business school and do MBA. So I said I can only do night shifts. And if I do night shifts, I will only come at 10 o'clock and I'll leave at 7. Everything was like, okay, as far as you're okay. So I used that time to do my competitive exams. Again, to say, I was far from seeing myself practicing astrology, because my horoscope, I know I can't do that until I'm 35 years of age.
Because you read your own chart.
Yes, I'll be doing all sorts of things that will not make any sense after 35. It could be education, it could be qualification, it could be experience. Then I went on to do competitive exams. I got into a very good B school. I finished my master's. After I got my competitive exams cleared, I applied for a hotel school. My kind of, the go-to job.
Dream.
So I got it. I got from two schools. Shartech called me, at Sunrise called me, both at the same time. So I chose Shartech and I got selected lecturer there. And I quit this so-called shop, although I was so embarrassed when I came and I know that this is the place I'm going to go.
Yes.
But now if I look back of all the employments I have been through, that place is the best. Why? When I had challenges after, let's say in Shartech or all the other corporate jobs that I have been, I will always go back to this restaurant, buy tea and sit there and have a retrospective thinking. If I could survive here, I should be surviving anywhere. And that place are far more superior than this. So that particular restaurant, till now, is a game changer. If I would have gone back, I wouldn't be sitting in here. And my calling is I have to use my mouth for an earning. I have to talk. Then I switched to learning and development to still do training, but not for students, but for adults. So I went to a Japanese company. This Ichiban Sushi, Ichiban Boshi, this big brand. I went and joined as the learning and development department head. 2,000 staff, teaching, everything. I used to do that during the day, finish, come back home, astrology. My preferred me time, my personal time, where I am myself, will be reading about astrology and researching about astrology. And in 2015, slowly wherever I work, they do know that I can read charts. Right, I can read horoscopes and all that. They don't see me as astrologer, but hey, he is into this and he can say things. So slowly, my colleagues used to take me out to coffee shops, in a more casual format, and they will ask, "Can you read my son's chart? Can you read my wife's chart?" Like that. It started like that, unofficial, and through word of mouth, I'm getting busy. So Saturdays and Sundays, during my off days, I'll be very busy in all the coffee shops, Starbucks, coffee corners, all Tea Leaf and all these kind of places where I'll go take my laptop, do reading for my close friends, colleagues. And through word of mouth, someone unknown. 2015 to 2018, I was doing this. Morning, usual employee, teaching, learning and development and all that. And evening, reading. And at that time, 2017, I knew that I have to do this full time. I have to indulge into this industry. And with a leap of faith, I set up Nivas Astrology and Research Private Limited and wanted to see where it takes me to. I'm the only breadwinner in the family. My spouse never worked. Got 3 kids. And
big decision.
Big decision. And I still reluctant to let go of this job. What if this astrology as a business, as a setup, doesn't do well? And so I thought, okay, 2 years. I will be as an employee, continue here, and simultaneously build this. Because I wasn't very confident. This time, at least I have options. Not like, when I came in here, I have no choice. I have an EP for only this address. I have to work.
True.
But this time I thought, 2 years. So 2 years, I never took a day off.
Wow.
Monday to Friday, I'll go to my workplace, finish 6 o'clock, and then I will drive back to my own astrology office, which used to be in opposite to Mustafa Center. So I'll start at 7, take 1-2 appointments, finish by 9 or 10 o'clock. Then I go back home. So this has been my routine for 2 years.
Wow.
Saturday and Sundays, from morning till night, I'll be in my astrology office. Slowly through word of mouth, people start to come. Right? People start. I still remember in January 2018, I only had one client the entire month.
Wow.
So I was very happy that I made the right choice not to quit my job. But it slowly started to build. By 6 months, I'm starting to see more than what I earn from my employment. So I'm kind of now happy that I'm getting 2 salaries. The next year, it doubled. Third year, 4 times, 5 times. From 10 customers a month, I start to get 40. And now I'm almost on a brink where I see 100, on an average, 100 customers.
Wow.
So by the end of first year, I'm actually ready to let go of my job because it is rewarding and it is doing 3 times more than what I'm earning. So, but I kept to my promise. 2 years, finish it. December 2019 came, which is 3 months short of my 2 years' time. COVID came. And very uncertain period. Of the 2,000 plus staff there, I was the only one to resign. Because I already know this is happening, not because of COVID or anything, uncertainty. But still I had reservations. Is it a good time to resign? But how is it going to be, man? I don't know. Businesses are shutting down.
Yeah.
People are complaining. No customers. Businesses closed.
Correct.
How are they going to make money? How am I going to make money? But I still went on with the flow. Resigned. Despite having many coffee sessions from my beautiful bosses and beautiful people there, I decided to leave.
Wow.
And I got super busy, uncertain times. So I used to do 6, 7 Zoom sessions a day.
Wow.
All of the questions would be, am I getting relocated? Am I going back? Will I thrive? What happened to my promotion? Answer to all that question, 2020, turning point, business flourished. As in, whatever I wanted to do flourished. Looking back, when I wanted to start this Nivas astrology, I told myself, it's tiring to measure my success with dollars and cents.
Yeah.
I want to put that to a stop. And I took a piece of paper, I still have that paper, and I wrote, what is that things Nivas would like to do on a daily basis? Just very random writing. I would like fountain pens. I want to use fountain pens on a daily basis. I would like to have my hands on precious metals.
Okay.
I like gold, silver. I would like to have my hands on gemstones. I would like to, research about. I just had a list of things that I always like to do. It's just like what are all your favorite food?
Yeah.
That kind of list. And I took that paper, and I saw all those listings. And I created, okay, maybe I should do astrology. Maybe I should do this because this is what I want to do in my life on a daily basis. So a combination of all of that became my job scope, job description, which is Vedic astrologer. So this Vedic astrologer, inside of all of that is exactly what I want to do in my life. And then I registered Nivas Astrology and Research Private Limited. But mainly why I'm sharing that is because that's the day I put a stop to me wanting to, grow in my professional life. Oh, I want to earn that much. I want to earn this much. I said, if I get the minimal, the least 5-digit figure, take home, good enough.
Because there are other things that matter to you.
Yes, because this is really draining. Yeah. And wanting to progress.
Yes.
I said, no, I'm taking home 10,000 and that's about it. With that, I'll be very happy. When I decided that, to put a full stop subconsciously that I don't have to look into this figure all the time, then money became a bonus because I stuck to something else. My objective is not money. My objective is to stick to my list of things that I want to do in life. I was very religious following that, and I can see money, like the successful people say, is always a result to what you want to do.
I think that's such a big realization and lesson for myself and also for many other people, where sometimes your conscious logical mind thinks that you need to chase after validation, progress, money in the way that most people would think that you need to chase, where in fact, and I'm trying my best to, where in fact by following your passion, your excitement, and the things that actually make you the most joyful or the happiest
Yeah,
can then eventually bring you that money and wealth and abundance.
absolutely.
That's a really big fundamental shift, and it's something that I am going through as well. And
Great.
I think thank you for showing us that it is possible
Yeah, thank you.
to do it. I know we don't have much time left, but if there was, and we can drag for another, we can talk forever, as you know.
Absolutely.
But if there was one message that you want to give to people who are watching this from the perspective of as an astrologer and someone who has transitioned from corporate to your own business, one or two messages, what would you say to them?
Well, from my life, my message would be one has to be bold to follow what they truly believe they are. In my life, humble life, when I look back, resigning and starting this startup business was the most significant decision I have ever made. My parents, my family were never supportive of this. My wife said, am I going to tell my husband as a fortune teller? No. But now they all look up to me. I'm the only business person in my entire family. I don't have staffs in my organization. I'm the only one. I'm a GST registered company. Third year, we did 1 million revenue. Would I be getting that if I was an employee? No. It is all a reward for that leap of faith. I was like blindly bold. I want to do something that makes meaning into my, that brings in meaning into my life. Message has got to be bold, because when you're bold and you're authentic and transparent to your true self, then the universe will manifest events in such a way that you will realize it. Because you had a dream, you had a goal, you are bold, and you are true to yourself, and your actions are aligned with your self, your interests, and things will manifest automatically. Only when we compare ourselves to others or be in a kind of a competition that we also want to prove the society in which the society have formed a certain game rule, we get lost. But once we realize we have to be, most of us will go through that, but we will stop. Wait, why am I running? Where am I running? Now, this is not where I want to run. We will step out and we will choose where I want to run. And that time we need to trust, because you never know, how this kind of decisions, boldness, for example. For now, I say I'm very bold, I'm very happy, proud. But it wasn't the case when I initially started. I also had my insecurities and all that. Trust your instincts, follow your true self, as in your soul already know what you want to become.
Oh, that's such a big, beautiful message for me and for so many people as well. I mean, Nivas, the journey that I'm, on as well. And be bold, be authentic, be true to yourself, and the universe will bring you whatever you have always truly deserved. Thank you so much, Nivas.
My pleasure, Nicole.
I'm very grateful to have met you and to have this conversation with you, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you. My pleasure too. Same here.
Thank you so much, Nivas.
Thank you.